Thank you for joining this lesson. Yeah, we're going to discuss mathematics, paper 1. Let me post the paper, Kcse 2020 examination. So make sure you cooperate as we go through this paper. You can share the broadcast to invite a friend. Remember to share with a friend. The paper is really very simple and you will enjoy everything in the lesson. So let's get into the questions now. Number 1. Answer all the questions in this section in the spaces provided. Those are the instructions for section 1, 50 marks, which are compulsory. Solve for n. With the provided equation, there are several ways through which you can maneuver through, but allow me approach the question by doing a cross multiplication, whereby I will have to cross multiply with the denominators, so that 6n multiplies with n, then this is equal to 25, which has now to multiply with n minus 1. Then at this point now we can open brackets to have n squared, and on the other side it will be 25n minus 25. That is after multiplying by 25. The equation is now becoming quadratic because we have a power of 2. This means it will be n squared minus 25n, then positive 25. This is equivalent to 0. It's now a quadratic equation, and with a quadratic equation, now we can apply the several methods of solving quadratic equations for us to come up with the solutions of n. So we need to apply the formula, for example, whereby I will say that n is equivalent to negative value of b, then plus or minus the square root of the value of b squared minus 4a multiplied by c, then divide everything by 2, the value of a. Now with the above equation, we can say negative, the value of b is a negative 25. Then we add and subtract the square root of negative 25 squared, then minus 4 multiplied by a, which is 6, and c, which is 25. Then we divide everything by 2a. The value of a is 6. With this now, we can proceed with the solution now, whereby we will say negative 25, negative 25 becomes 25, then plus or minus the square root of 25 squared becomes 625. Then we will have 4 multiplied by 6, then by 25, that will be 600. So 625 minus 600 becomes 25, then divide by 2 multiplied by the value of a plus or minus 5, the square root of 25 out of 12. So the value of n is going to be 5 plus 5, that becomes 30. We divide by 12, we get 2.5, or rather 2.5. 2.5, and the value of n can also be given us when we take 25 minus 5. This is going to be 20. Then everything is now being divided by 12. 20 divided by 12 becomes 1 2/3. 1 2/3. So these are the two possible values of n. The two possible values of n. Remember to subscribe Remember to share so that you may invite a friend. Okay, now we can check number 2. We can check number 2, which is a question on fractions, which are set in terms of word problems. Remember, fractions can just be given as fractions, or in other fractions can be given as word problems, the way we're going to see. As we continue, remember you can access airtime by promoting our account, whereby when you go to your Lipa na M-Pesa, you enter the pay bill 737356. Then the account number is now your number, the phone number which you would like to buy airtime for, be it Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom, or any other network. You just key in that number. Then now you continue by feeding in the amount that you want, and you complete the transaction. And through that, you will be able to purchase airtime. Remember, the pay bill is 737356. Access this one and also invite friends to continue using the same mode of acquiring airtime. Thank you so much for your cooperation. We can now continue with the paper, whereby we are told a family used 2/5 of its monthly income on school fees. Again, we are told that 3/4 of the remaining amount was used on family upkeep, while the rest was invested. The family invested 13,500 Kenya shillings monthly. Calculate the amount of money the family used on school fees every month. The family used on school fees every month. So what we shall understand here is that there is an initial fraction of 2/5. A fraction of 2/5. This one goes directly to fees. That is school fees. Then again, 3/4 of the remaining. You know, we should tell ourselves that the remaining at this point, the remaining equals to, when we spent 2/5 on fees, the remaining now becomes 3/5. And now we will talk about 3/4 of the remaining. So 3/4 of 3/5. This one gives us a 9/20. And 9/20 now is the money that goes to upkeep. For the family upkeep monthly, they take a fraction equal to 9/20. We also told that the family invested the rest. So the rest was invested. This means from the whole fraction of the salary, when we subtract what has been spent on fee and what will be spent on the upkeep, we are getting a fraction which is equivalent to 3/20. This is the fraction which goes to investment. So this is going to be invested now, 3/20 of the salary or of the monthly income. So we can say, because the 3/20 is the one representing 13,500, because we are told in the instructions that the family invested 13,500 monthly, then we have the fraction that represents that amount. What about the question we have for school fees? The fraction for school fees is also known, 2/5. So proportionally, what will be 2/5 representing? This will be 2/5 by 13,500 divided by 3/20, which means times 20/3. This is going to give us exactly 36,000 Kenya shillings on school fees. So that is the amount which goes to school fees. We can continue. There is the number 3 here. Solve for x in the equation. Solve for x in the equation. 5 raised to 2 minus 2x minus 1, then negative 25x equals to 500. The first thing we do in such a question is we put everything to the least base possible. And according to this question, we can have everything to base 5, whereby we'll have 2 minus 1 minus, instead of 25, now we have 5 power 2. There is already x there, so it becomes 2x. This is equivalent to 500. Equivalent to 500. Then at this point now, because we have the laws of indices, for example, the law which says that in case we have the same base raised to a given power, then divided by the same base to a different power, this is solved by taking just the base and we subtract the indices. And that means in the first term, we shall apply this law, whereby we will say instead of 5 to x minus negative 1, we will have 5 also raised to power 1. So they have been divided, and that's why there's 5 power 2x minus 1. So we're just applying this law at that point, minus 5 to x equivalent to 500. At this point, we can see that 5 power 2x is appearing twice, and we can simplify it, whereby we can just say that we let 5 power 2x to be something like t. When it is like something t now, just unknown, we will have t divided by 5 minus t equals to 500. This will be negative 4 over 5t, because this is a fifth minus t. So negative 4 over 5t equals to 500. This means the value of t will be negative 625. Yeah, negative 625. Now with negative 625, we need to say that whatever we had let to be t is 5 power 2x. This is equivalent to negative 625. Now we cannot have composite numbers which are negative, and we cannot start putting a negative 625 to the same base as 5 power 2x. And so we can just let the question now to end there. Some experts were saying that maybe the question that year had a setting error, but this is what the candidates did, and that is the farthest they can go, assuming that this is the item. There is a way the item can be set, and we have it being, we have it ending instead of this case whereby it has to be terminated at that point. So the solution now has to reach an end. Yeah, we continue looking at number 4. We got a question here again. We told that Kcse, Kcse and Tanui began a 5,000 meters race together at the starting line. Kcse and Tanui took 72 seconds and 80 seconds respectively to run a 400-meter lap. The two athletes were together again at the starting line after some time. Determine the number of laps that Tanui had to run to complete the race after they were together. So let's look at this problem keenly. We are to know that they are beginning a race together, and after some time they shall be together again at the starting point. Such an application can also be found with signals, some other times with some bells, whereby you are told that bells ring together at this time, then they ring at intervals of this, calculate the time they shall ring together again, or calculate the time they had rung together again. So we are going to apply LCM so that we may know immediately they began together. When else were they together at the starting point? So we will take the LCM of the time that they use. This is 72 and 80. So when we have 72 and 80, 72 and 80, now we can get the LCM by factoring out the prime factors. The first one is usually 2, so that is 6 and 40 by 2, 18 and 20 by 2, 9 and 10 by 2 again. 9 remains, becomes a 5. By 3, we will have 3, 5. Then by 3 again, 1, and finally by 5. So we will have 2 power 4, 3 squared, 2 power 4, 5 power 1. And this is going to give us exactly 720 seconds. 720 seconds. So they shall be together at the starting point at 720. 720. So we are supposed to know that when you look at the question, you know that each lap is 400 meters and we are running a 5,000 meters race. So how many laps are to be run in total? Total laps. Total laps is going to be 5,000. When we divide by 400, we're going to get a total of 12.5 laps. 12.5 laps. Now with these total laps, we can also look at Tanui now as an individual whereby he is running at a speed of 80, 80 seconds in every 400-meter race. So we can tell ourselves that if he has already run for 720, how many laps has he covered at this time when they are together at the starting point? How many laps has he already covered? So within 720, Tanui, who is taking 80 seconds to cover a lap, he has already covered, this is going to be 9 laps. The guy has already covered 9 laps. And remember, he has to cover a total of 12.5 laps. So Tanui has some remaining laps. These laps are going to be 12.5 minus 9, giving us 3.5 laps. So the total laps that Tanui is yet to cover, 3.5 laps. So that is how number 3 was supposed to be approached. We continue working out. There is this number 5 now. Simplify 18x minus 3x, 3a minus 4x, that is. Then we have 3a plus 4x. Something we are supposed to understand is that we need to first of all expand. We need to expand, and this is going to be, it's good for you to know that let me put it in a bigger bracket such that 18ax, we are subtracting, there are smaller brackets there, 3a minus 4x, then 3a plus 4x, and we should tell ourselves that whatever is in the brackets now is a difference of 2 squares, a simplified difference of 2 squares. When a difference of 2 squares has been simplified, it can be very easy for us to expand it. Very easy for us to expand, because we need to say that this is 18ax. Then when the other part now is expanded, we'll be subtracting 9a squared minus 16x squared. So that is the expanded difference of two squares. Remember, when we have x squared minus y squared, this is a difference of two squares. Generally, it should be expanded. This is an expanded, sorry, it should be factorized by x minus y multiplied by x plus y. This means because we have the factorized side, then we can get the expanded form very quickly. And at this point now, we can again deal with the second bracket whereby we will have 18 ax minus 9a squared positive 16x squared. Let me begin with the term that as a squared term, 16x squared plus 18ax minus 9a squared. This is now what we are having. Yeah, we are doing well. Thank you for following. I can see people are around. Best platform to get an A in mathematics. Eric from Munyu High School. I'm proud of you, teacher. Thank you so much. Good work, sir. Thank you to all who are following. Continue following. Remember, I'm first of all working on the numerator. I'll be presenting the denominator. Then we combine now the solution. So at this point now, we can talk of now factorizing this numerator once again. We have now rearranged until it is a quadratic expression. For us to expand, we need to know that we need a product which is equal to a by c. 16 by negative 9. 16 by negative 9 will be negative 144. Then sum to be equal to the value at b, which is 18. So we can work with 24 and negative the negative 8. 24 by negative 8 or negative 6. 24 by negative 6. 24 by negative 6. So we can say that now 6x squared minus 6ax plus 24ax. We have replaced 18 with negative 6 and positive 24. Then minus 9a squared. And at this point, in every two common factors, we have to factorize whatever is common. So in the first case, we'll have 2x being common to remain with the, I think this is now 8. X minus 3a. Again, in the next, we will have positive 3a, so that will remain with 8x minus 3a. And finally, the fully factorized numerator shall be 8x minus 3a, that is the common factor, and 2x plus 3a. Now we have factorized up to that point. Let's look at our denominator now. At the denominator, we are having a 3a minus 8, 6. 3a minus 8a. So we can now combine 8x minus 3a. Then we are having 2x plus 3a. Everything now is being divided by 3x minus, let me confirm, 3a. 3a minus 8x. As 8x. Now, when you look, there is a similarity between one of the factors in the numerator and another factor in the denominator, yet they are not exactly not exactly the same. So how do we continue now to ensure that we have factorized? Make sure you are following keenly. Make sure you are following keenly. All right. Allow me now to multiply the numerator with a -1 and also the denominator with a -1. But for the numerator, where there are two factors, I shall not open the brackets. So I'll be having -1 multiplying everything, 8x minus 3a. Then we have 2x plus 3a. Then we divide by. Now the negative multiplying the denominator is now going to make it -3a positive 8x after multiplying by denominator. This means we can rearrange. We remain with our negative in the numerator, 8x minus 3a, 2x plus 3a. Then we divide by. A rearrangement will make 8x to start, then minus 3a. And at this point now we can see that there are common factors now. 8x minus 3a, 8x minus 3a, so that the simplified is -1 into 2x plus 3a. So that is the final answer, the most simplified. So that is how we are supposed to do such a problem. I can see people are still following, and this is really wonderful. Remember, as you continue following, yeah, we are now about to do number 6, which is a very interesting item. I hope you cooperate. Remember, you can also invite all your friends to this live broadcast. And as we continue learning, it's good I continue reminding you that you can access airtime from M-Pesa to any line, whether Safaricom, whether Airtel, whether Telcom. Just go to your M-Pesa menu according to the procedure here. Lipa na M-Pesa, the pay bill number, you shall enter the business number 737356 as displayed there. The account number will be the phone number that you intend to buy airtime for. If you want to buy airtime for your Safaricom number, you will enter the account as that Safaricom number. If it is an Airtel number, account number becomes that Airtel number you want to buy airtime for. Then you continue by having the airtime you would like to spend. That will be the amount. Then you continue transacting and finish up. You receive your airtime instantly. Your airtime will reflect instantly. So the pay bill is 737356. Utilize and invite a friend to also utilize. Thank you so much. Number 6. We continue. Yeah, number 6. In the quadrilateral ABCD, AD equals to CD, and this is equal to 6 centimeters, just as we can see in the diagram. Then BA is equivalent to BC. It's also equivalent to 12 centimeters, again, as you can see on the diagram. Angle ADC equals to 300 degrees. ADC equals to 300 degrees. Calculate the demand statement now is here. Strictly to 2 decimal places, the area of the quadrilateral ABCD. Let me use several approaches to attempt this question. In the first case, because AD and CD are equal, and we have an angle of 300 at that point, it means we can produce a line from D to B. Can produce a line from D to B at that way, such that now we are having 150. We are having 150. Yeah, like that. Then now with this, we can respond now to a few things, like because we are having 12 centimeters and the opposite angle is also known to be 150. Then there is a side here equivalent to 6 centimeters, the opposite angle at B can also be calculated following the sine rule, whereby we need to say 6 divided by the sine of the angle at B, which is unknown. We're going to get 12 divided by sine of the angle at D, which is 150, sine of 150. So with this, we can say the sine of the angle at B is equivalent to, we need 6 multiplied by, for us to get sine B, remember I'm cross multiplying by 12 here, so that I have 6, the sine of 150. So to remain with sine B only, I need 6 sine 150 divided by 12. And when we compute this now, we're going to get 15. Okay, let me work it out first of all. 6, the sine of 150. I hope we are together in that, over 12, so that we get 0.25. Then now the value of the angle itself shall be the sine inverse, shift sine, and this will be 14.48 degrees. Now with that angle, we can also get the angle at A. So the angle at A shall be 180, because it's a triangle now, minus 150 and 14.48. Yeah, that way. So we're getting 15.52. 15.52. Now it's good for you to know that with that angle now, the angle at A, 15.52. Now we can use the formula of calculating area of a triangle, whereby we can apply the whereby we need area of a triangle is given by half AB, the sine of theta. A and B are two angles, are two lines, sorry, and theta is an angle between the two lines. Therefore, there are two similar triangles here, because I divided already by 2, and that means I will have area given by half 6 times 12. The sine of the angle is 15.52, but now due to the other similar triangle, I have to multiply by 2. This will give me exactly, after computing, 19.27 square centimeters. 19.27 square centimeters. Continue following, please. Continue inviting friends. Yeah, thank you for your good messages. Thank you, Kennedy Odhiambo. I recognize your presence in the meeting group of A material like Malimu. May Malimu continue sharing experience to us. I can also see Irene. I like the presentation. Today I'm alert until we complete all the papers. Thank you so much. Continue being around. Okay, that's one of the approaches that we can use. Let's look at another possible working. Another possible working can be, just check here. I want to show another possible working. Remember, we got the angle at B as 14.58. Alternatively, we can now get the whole angle ABC. Alternatively, angle ABC will be 14.48 by 2. This gives us 28.96 degrees. Now with that angle, we can treat ABC again as a triangle. So triangle ABC, area of triangle ABC. Now whereby we need to take half A, B, the sine of 28.96. This is going to give us area equivalent to 34.86. 86 square centimeters. Now with this area, remember this is an alternative working. With this area, we have taken care of, because we are using 12 and 12, then there is the angle at this point. We have gotten the triangle ABC such that we are even passing through here. Triangle ABC. That is how the area can be gotten, which means we have to extract triangle ADC now. We subtract triangle ADC. So triangle ADC, we need half multiplied by, let's check something here. Already, this length and this length are equal. Then we are having an angle of 300 at this point. The angle here is 300, which means the inner angle is going to exactly be 60, because those are angles at a point D. So if the angle is 60 degrees exactly, then it means the base angles are also equal to 60. It's also 60. And that means the equilateral triangle can now be used to get the area. So we need 6 by 6 sine 60. 6, 6, the sine of 60 degrees. At this point now we can get the area is 15.59. 15.59 square centimeters. Now with the two areas, we can subtract them and have area of the quadrilateral. So area of A, B, C, D, we will have to get now the triangle, which is bigger, minus the smaller triangle. And this will exactly take us to 19.27, just like the other approach. So in the two methods, we are getting the same answer, 19.27. 19.7. Yeah, thank you. You can see people are serious, and this is really encouraging. This is quite encouraging. We can look at number 7 now. Number 7. A watch loses 8 seconds every hour. It was set to read correct time at 11:00 hours on Sunday. Determine the time in 12-hour system the watch will show on the following Thursday, when the correct time is 05:00 hours. We are supposed to know that from Sunday up to this time, there are the number of hours we can compute there. From Sunday to Monday, there is 1 day. Then up to Tuesday, there will be another 1 day. Then there is from Tuesday to Wednesday. There is another 1 day. Then from the end of Wednesday, there are 5 hours. From the end of Wednesday, there are 5 hours until we have 05:00 hours of Thursday. So on Thursday, we are just talking of 5 hours. There are 5 hours. But now we are supposed to tell ourselves, from Sunday until Monday, were there 24 hours? Not really, because it was already 11:00 hours. The hours on Monday are not making a whole day. So between Sunday and Monday, there are 11 until we have 13 hours. So from 11:00 until the day ends now, Remember, a day has 24 hours. So there were 13 more hours for Sunday to end until we see Monday. Then for the whole of Monday up to Tuesday, there is 1 day. The whole of Tuesday up to Wednesday, there is another whole day. Then for Thursday, just 5 hours. It's good for you to know that these are 24 hours. These are also 24 hours. So we can get total hours. The total hours between 11:00 Sunday up to Thursday the following week, or the following Thursday anyway. So that means we need 13 plus 24 plus 24 plus now 5. So I'll be having 13 by plus 24 plus 5. 13 plus 5. I think we should be very careful when handling this. Let's check it closely. Let's just go through the problem. From Sunday up to Monday, there will be 11 hours. There will be 13 hours. That is up to Monday. From Monday to Tuesday, there will be 24 hours. From Tuesday to Wednesday, 24 hours. From Wednesday to Thursday, 24 hours. Then on Thursday, just 5 hours of Thursday. Exactly. So I'm getting a very different interpretation. Please follow this one now and be very careful with it. We are saying that our watch loses 8 seconds in every hour. It was set to read correct at 11:00 hours on Sunday. Determine the time in the 12-hour clock system. The watch will show on the following Thursday when the correct time is 05:00 hours. So we are saying on Sunday 11:00 all the way to Thursday 05 hours. It means there are the 13 hours remaining for Sunday to end. 13 remaining hours for Sunday to end. Then now from Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, 5 hours. On Thursday, 5 hours. Therefore, we'll be having a total hours of 13 plus 24 plus 24 plus 24, then plus 5. So we're going to have exactly 90 hours. We were getting 66 because there is a day we were skipping in the counting. Sorry for that. Now with 90 hours, and for every hour, the watch is going to lose 8 seconds. So how many 8 seconds shall we lose? And because they are more than a minute, we can convert them to minutes by dividing by 60. So 90 multiplied by 8 over 60, this will be exactly 12 seconds. So we are losing 12 minutes, sorry. We have made them minutes. They are many seconds, but we've converted them to minutes directly. So if by the time we are on Thursday, 05:00, the watch will have lost 12 minutes. Then the time that it will be showing will be 05:00, and we subtract our 12 minutes. This is going to be, we carry 1 hour, 60 minus 12, 48 minutes, then 04. So it's going to be displaying 4:48 a.m. because we've been advised to have it in the 12-hour clock system. The 12-hour clock system. So that is the time the watch is going to be showing. Wow, thank you so much. I can see people are seriously following up with the program. Seriously following up with the program. Let's continue working out. We are still in section 1. Still in section 1. A lorry left town A for town B and maintained an average speed of 50 kilometers per hour. A car left town A for town B. That means they are going to the same direction. 42 minutes later and maintained an average speed of 80 kilometers per hour. At the time the car arrived in town B, the lorry had 25 kilometers to cover to town B. The question says, determine the distance between town A and B. Determine the distance between town A and B. Something we're supposed to know is that these two vehicles are moving in the same direction. One is going to cover the total distance because the car is arriving, while we will have the lorry not arriving with a remaining distance. So we can just sketch this information first of all and say that by the time, assuming that the total distance is x, let's assume total distance is x. Total distance, we can let it to be x kilometers. If this is the total distance, let's talk about the time. Taken by car. You know, the car will cover all this distance within, using a speed of 80, of course. Using a speed of 80. The car covers the total distance using a speed of 80. That is the time taken by car. What about by the time the car is finishing the journey? We are saying that the lorry is 25 meters away. And that means the lorry, time by lorry, which is equivalent to the time by car. By the time the car is covering the total distance, the lorry will have covered total distance minus 25, but using a speed of 50. So logically, we can even equate these two times. By the time the car is covering x over 80, the lorry will have covered, the lorry is going to have covered exactly a distance of x minus 25, because it will not have covered the total distance, out of 50. But there is some time that the lorry has traveled. That is 42 minutes. Remember, the lorry started 42 minutes. So this time could have been the same as this if the lorry had not begun earlier. So we're going to say that when we take the time taken by the lorry, x minus 25 out of 50 equals to x out of 80. Let me change my ink now there. I want people to understand me. This time of the lorry, there is also, within the same time for the lorry, there is a 42 over 60 because we have to convert it. So we have to say that we need to add 42 over 60 because the lorries are ahead in time. So for the times to be equal, there is the time the lorry covered when the car had not begun its journey. There is the time covered by the lorry. You can see people are really following. This is good. There is some time the lorry covered when the car had not begun its journey. And so at this point now, at this point now we can now solve. We can now solve for x by multiplying by the LCM. Let's look at the LCM. The LCM of 50, 80, and 60. This is going to be by 225, or instead of the LCM, we can multiply by all the factors, just all of them. Just all of them. Instead of wasting time multiplying by LCM, we can multiply this factor, or we divide 50 by 60 and 80, such that we will have x minus 25 being multiplied by, this is 4800. This is equal to, we divide 80 by all the factors there, and we're going to cancel 80 and have x being multiplied by 5 by 60, 3000 x. Then we add 42 multiplied by 60 cancels, and we have 4000. 4000. So at this point now we will have 4800x minus 4800 by 25, giving us a 120,000 equals to 3000 plus, we need 42 by 4k. This is a 168,000. So we can add 120 and have 288,000 equals to 4800 minus 3000, 180, or 1800x. We have now to divide 288,000 by what I'm having here, and I'm getting the value of x is exactly 160. There are very many methods in which you can find the value of x through. I encourage you just to follow through. Ensure you compute the value of x. By whatever means, give us a 160 kilometers. Number 9. We are almost winding up. Number 9 is on bearing, or rather scale drawings. Port L, 120 on a bearing of south 30 degrees west from K. A ship left Port K at 10:00 hours and sailed at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour along the bearing of south 60 degrees in the east. Using scale drawing, determine the bearing of the ship from Port L at 14:00 hours. It's good for you to know that we have the issue of speed here. So the ship is leaving 10:00, and by 14:00 we are told to determine the bearing from L. So we will say that there are 4 hours of traveling there at a speed of 40. So the distance itself will be 160 kilometers. The distance it will have covered. The distance it will have covered. That means if we have distance covered and we know the bearing through which it is moving, we can now come up with a scale diagram and say Port L is 120 on a bearing of Port L is on a bearing of, so we start with K. Let me just sketch for you to finish up later. Assuming that we are at K. Now we are having the Port L from south. South is here, 30 degrees towards the west. So that towards the west will be through a distance this way. 30 towards the west. That is how we measure it. The north distance there is 120. Distance of 120 kilometers. This is our point L. L is 120 kilometers south, 30 degrees towards west from port K. So this is from port K. There is more information which is now telling us that a ship is leaving K. Again, we are still from K. Then it has moved on a bearing of south, 60 towards east. So at south again, 60 towards east. So 60 towards east. This is a compass bearing now, which has been given. So we need to talk about, after measuring the 160 kilometers, depending on the scale that we shall use, we will raise a compass at this point, and this is going to be our a ship left. So the ship will be at this point now. So a ship will be at that point by 1400. We determine now the bearing from L. So from L, we determine the bearing. You'll be able to connect the places and determine the bearing. Yeah. So when you do a scale diagram, probably using a 1 centimeter to represent, not 10, because when you use 10, the diagram will be very large. We can use 20. 20 kilometers. Draw the actual distance, actual diagram now, and confirm the bearing to be 083, or simply from the north, 83 degrees towards the east. Just confirm that bearing. It can be stated as true bearing or the compass bearing. True bearing or the compass bearing. We are continuing. We have a, yeah. Remember, we are continuing with mathematics paper 1. This now from 2 question on vectors, and we're going to handle it very efficiently. As we continue covering all this, remember the most convenient way of purchasing airtime from your M-Pesa to any network, either for a friend or even for yourself. You just go to M-Pesa menu, Lipa na M-Pesa, and the pay bill number that you shall use is 737356. That's our pay bill number. Please use it. Then go to the account, and for the account number, you shall have your own phone, the phone number that you want to load airtime for, be it Safaricom, be it Airtel, be it Telcom. After the number, which is now the account, you will key in the amount you'd like to spend, then complete the transaction. The pay bill, 737356. Number 10, the image of P, -25, and the translation T is P prime 22. Q prime 9 -5 is the image of Q under the same translation T. Determine the coordinates of Q. It's good for you to know that when we take a translation and we add object, we should get the image. So the first thing we're going to determine here is the translation vector, which maps P onto P prime. So the translation vector is xy, unknown, plus, now the object is P, which we'll write it as a column vector, 2, 5. This is supposed to give us 2, 2. So at this point now, we can say, using the x components, to remain with x, we need to take 2 to the other side, whereby it will be added. That will be 4. To get y, we need to take 5 to the other side, such that we have 3 minus 5. 2 minus 5, -3. So the translation vector is 4, -3. With the translation vector now, we can determine coordinates of Q. The coordinates of Q will be, assuming they are AB, when we add the translation vector, which is now known, because we are told under the same translation, we get the image 9, -5. And that means for me to remain with A, the first coordinate, I need to say 9 minus 4, which is 5. And for me to get B, I need to say negative 5 plus 2, because when 3 goes to the other side, it will be negative. So negative 5 plus 3 will be negative 2. So the coordinates of Q are 5, negative 2. 5, negative 2. So this is the coordinate for Q. You have another question here, which is commercial exchange rates. Number 11. A Kenyan bank bought and sold United Arab Emirates dirham on 2 different dates as shown below. So we have the table there for buying and for selling. We are just buying and selling one different currency, but on different times. A Kenyan tourist who traveled to UAE on 1st August 2021 converted 130,050 Kenya shillings to UAE dirhams. During her stay in UAE, she spent 3520 dirhams. She converted back to Kenya on 6th August 2021. The same day, she converted the remaining amount to Kenya shillings at the same bank. Calculate the amount of money in Kenya shillings that she received from the bank. So in the first day, when she was approaching the bank, she wanted to go out because she's a Kenyan. Being a Kenyan now, she has to go to the bank and buy foreign currency. Remember, there are these acronyms which you use and they help us to calculate or determine exchange rates, whereby we usually we can say from a Kenyan currency to foreign currency. We use the selling column. So the bank sells to the, and we actually divide. We usually divide. So the bank sells foreign currency. So when she goes with 13,0050 Kenya shillings and she's buying dirhams, the bank will sell to her, and the bank is selling at 28.9. So how many of them will she be able to buy? If one is going for 28.9, so she will buy 4500 dirhams. Now, if this is what she buys, then she goes to UAE and spends something. Let's check the balance she'll come with. The balance she'll be coming with is going to be 980 dirham. But this time round, she's coming to Kenya, her country. So she has to convert back the currency to Kenyan shillings. Which means now, because she wants Kenyan money, she will sell the dirham she's having. That means actually, yeah, she will sell. So the Kenyan bank will buy the dirham from her, and buying foreign currency to Kenyan currency, the bank buys and we multiply. So if the bank is buying one at exactly 28 and they are 980, so they will be bought at, we multiply 27,440 Kenya shillings. So that is how we're going to have the money converted back to Kenya shillings. Remember to subscribe. Remember to invite your friends to continue learning with us. We are almost winding up. Number 12. An electric post erected vertically 20 meters from point P on the same level ground. The angle of elevation of the top T of the post from P is 30 degrees. Then given that S is the midpoint of the post, calculate, correct to 1 decimal place, the angle of elevation of S from P. Let's first of all sketch this information. We are talking of a level ground whereby there is a post and also a point P. Then now the post is vertical. Remember, the post is also having a midpoint which is called S. The top is T, and we are saying the angle of elevation to the top from a point P which is on the ground is exactly 30 degrees. So there is an angle of 30 degrees here to the top of the post, but there is another information which is telling us that 20 meters from P. So there are 20 meters here between the post and point P. We can first of all get the total distance of the height of this electric post, whereby we say its height h, for example. So we can use tangent because we have an angle acute, the adjacent length, and we want the opposite. So the tan of 30 degrees is equivalent to h out of 20. This means to remain with h, we need 20 tan 30. And this is going to exactly be 11.55 meters. Then now from the question now, we are determining to 1 decimal place the angle of elevation of S from P. The angle of elevation of S from P. So S is the mid of the electric post, which means now we can get the new angle here. Talking of, with that mid, we can get half the distance here. Distance x will be 11.55 divided by 2, which will be exactly 5 when we divide by 2 now, 0.77 meters. Now with that height and the distance to P remains 20, then we can get the acute angle there, whereby we say the tan of a known angle will be opposite. So 5.77 divided by the adjacent length 20. And that means for us to get theta, we need the tan inverse of 5.77 over 20. And when you compute this using a calculator, you get 16.1. Remember, we've been told to 1 decimal place. 16.1 exactly. 16.1. So that will be the angle of elevation of S from P. Remember, S is the midpoint of the flag post. Number 13. Given that A equals to, these are matrices. So matrix A equals to 2, 6, 2U, 5. B equals to 7, negative 3, negative U5. And BA, which is the product of matrix A, matrix B and A, equals to 2V, 16W. Determine the values of U, V, and W. Let's work out the values of the unknown letters here. So we will talk of, remember the order is very important in which multiplication has been done. Students are supposed to know AB, when it comes to matrices, is not the same as BA. So that means in our order, we must follow the statements very well. That one comes first. B comes first, followed by A. 2, 6, 2U, 5. This is equivalent to, now we are given 2V, 16W. Yeah. So now we can follow the multiplication, just the normal multiplication of matrices, whereby we follow the law which says that the row multiplied by column gives us the first element here. So 7 by 2, which is 14. When we add negative 3 by 2u, that will be negative 6u. We're supposed to get exactly 2. That is an equation to be understood. And with this, we can even simplify further and say that negative 6u equals to negative 12. And so the value of u shall be 2, positive 2. We continue. Now that u is known, it can even be substituted now. But let's continue. It's good for you to know that when we multiply again the same row and the next column, we will get the value of v. So we can say 7 by 6, which is 42, plus negative 3 by 5, which is negative 15. We're supposed to get the value of v. And this means the value of v is equivalent to 42 minus 15, giving us exactly 27. So we know v and u. Let's continue to get w. For us to get w, now we are supposed to multiply the row that we are having here and the second column at this point for you to get the last element of that matrix. So negative u multiplied by 6. And remember, negative u is not supposed to be negative 2 by 6. That will be negative 12. U is known already. Then 5 by 5, that becomes 25. This is equivalent to w. And this can imply that the value of w is negative 12 plus 25, giving us positive 13. So we have the value of w also. So w, v, and u have been obtained. They have been obtained. Number 14, the capacities of two similar containers are 54 ml and 250 ml respectively. The difference in the heights of the two containers is 4 centimeters. Calculate the height of the larger container. The height of the larger container. We're supposed to know that capacities usually give us volume scale factor. So we can get volume scale factor for the two containers. 52, 54 is to 250, whereby we can do it by 227 and by 125. This means for us to get linear scale factor, we need the cube root of this, and we will have 3 is to 5. Now the linear scale factor is here. What has been given is the difference in the heights, which means it can also be the difference in the proportions that we have. 3 is to 5. So the difference in the proportions for the two containers, this is the proportion for the smaller, proportion for the larger. That is what gives us ratio, which means the difference now. The difference is going to be having 5 minus 3, which is 2 proportions. And now the difference is the one represented by 4 centimeters. So you can say 2 proportions equals to 4 centimeters. What about the larger height, which is 5 proportions? It will be 4 by 5 out of 2, exactly 10 centimeters. Exactly 10 centimeters. So that's how we work out such a question. I can see people are still following, and this is great. You can still come up with other methods of working out the same problem. So let's conclude now. We are in number 15. Remember, we are going up to number 16. 15, the table below shows the mean marks in a math test of Form 2 classes. Class X has 43 students and the mean mark is 65. Class Y, 45 students, the mean mark is 62. Calculate to 2 decimal places the mean mark of the classes. So for the 2 classes, we have to work out the mean mark. We have to work out the mean mark. So we will say that 42 students are giving us a mean of 65, which means the 42 students, if we multiply the marks, the mean score by the number of students, we get the total marks that they add. So total marks from X are going to be that. We add also the total marks from the other class, whereby the students are 45, they have a mean of 62. So we can now get total marks for the 2 classes. And now the total marks will be divided by, the total students, which are 43, and in the other case, 45. This is going to be 42 by 65. Then we add 45 multiplied by 62. This is going to be 5520 divided by 43 and 45, which is 88. So we need 5520 over the 88, and this will give us a, just a minute, 43 students by 65, 45 by 62, yeah? Let me just confirm that calculation. There are 43 students in the first case, sorry. This is not 42, 43 students. So 43 by 65, then 45 by 62. That will be 5585. 5585. Then I divide this now by 88 students. Yeah, I'm getting 63.47. Remember, it's supposed to be to 2 decimal places. So tomorrow we'll be doing a section 2 of mathematics. Remember, the most convenient way of purchasing airtime through your M-Pesa. You use the pay bill 737356. Then the account number is the number that you want to buy airtime for. Then you put the amount, you complete the transaction. Remember to invite your friends to the same mechanism of acquiring airtime. Thank you so much for following up with the lesson.